All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're cracking open a historical cold case that has literally baffled experts for centuries. We're going to look at a scenario that completely challenges our basic understanding of how human settlements work and how they can just suddenly, inexplicably cease to exist. It's a story that kicks off with so much ambition and hope, but ends in this incredibly dark, eerie atmosphere of complete silence. So get ready, because today's explainer is all about the vanishing of Roanoke. I want you to start by just putting yourself right in the middle of this chilling scenario for a second. Picture waking up, walking out your front door, and expecting to hear all those typical sounds of a bustling community. But instead, you find the entire town completely empty. No bustling markets, no neighbors chatting over fences, no kids running around playing. You walk from building to building, and every single door is just swinging wide open to a vacant room. It kind of feels like the setup for a modern sci-fi thriller, right? But as we're going to see, this is a very real, very unsettling piece of our history. You know, usually when a disaster strikes a town, there's almost always a signature left behind. But here, literally no people anywhere. And even more unsettling, no bodies. There are absolutely zero signs of a struggle or a fight. Buildings aren't burned to the ground, furniture isn't smashed to pieces, there's no chaotic trail of debris that would suggest, say, a panicked evacuation. There is just this overwhelming, heavy silence. It totally defies every logical expectation of what happens when a massive group of people meets a sudden end.
Part 1. An empty town. The mystery of Roanoke. So when did this impossible disappearance actually happen? Over 400 years ago. 4 centuries. I mean, just think about how long this mystery has endured. For over a dozen generations, this case has remained completely, utterly open. We've mapped the human genome, we've literally put rovers on Mars, but we still haven't fully cracked the case of what happened over 400 years ago in Roanoke.
Part 2, the 1587 settlement, a new life. To really understand the sheer scale of this mystery, we got to flash back to the very beginning. The year is 1587. A group of English settlers has just arrived on an island off the coast of America. Now, this was the ultimate frontier. They were there to build homes, to carve out a whole new existence in this totally unfamiliar landscape, and basically to wait for vital supplies to sustain them. They were laying the literal groundwork for a permanent presence in a new world. And we're not just talking about a small, rugged handful of explorers here. There were more than 100 people in this settlement. We're talking men, women, and children. And that detail, that's absolutely crucial. It tells us this was a community designed for the long haul. Entire families had packed up their lives, said their goodbyes, and crossed a massive ocean to be part of this ambitious new settlement. Moving over 100 people and their kids really speaks to this high level of planning and a deeply rooted commitment to staying. Part 3, 3 years of silence, the delay. Okay, so the fundamental vulnerability of these early colonies was that they were entirely reliant on the homeland for supplies. So here's what happens. We see the arrival and settlement in 1587. Shortly after, the leader makes this tough but strategic decision to sail all the way back to England to gather much-needed supplies. But then, disaster strikes in the form of geopolitics. A war breaks out back home, and this war completely halts the leader's ability to return. The journey is delayed and delayed and delayed again. It isn't until 3 long years later that the leader finally manages to sail back to America. 3 agonizing years. I really want you to feel the heavy, silent isolation those colonists must have experienced. Imagine sitting on an island, looking out at the horizon day after day, week after week, month after month, just waiting for sails that never appear. Their supplies are dwindling. They have zero communication with the outside world. 3 whole years of wondering if they'd been completely forgotten. Part 4, the only clue left, the scene of the crime. So when the leader finally navigated back to that island after those 3 long years, what he found wasn't a thriving settlement, and honestly, it wasn't even a desperate group of starving survivors either. There was a complete and total lack of physical evidence left behind. No blood. If there had been some terrible massacre, where was the evidence? No weapons left scattered about. If some sort of awful disease had ravaged the camp, well, surely there would be graves for the deceased, right? But there were no graves. Just nothing. The absolute absence of tragedy is what makes this tragedy so profoundly weird. The physical environment gave absolutely zero indication of the fate of over 100 men, women, and children. Well, actually, scratch that. There was one thing.
A single, strange word carved into a wooden post that serves as the only clue left behind. Croatan. That's it. Just a word etched right into the wood. No long, desperate letter of explanation tucked under a rock, no directional map, just this one totally cryptic message. It stands out so glaringly against the total emptiness of the settlement.
Part 5. History's unsolved mystery. The endless search. For centuries, that one single word and that totally empty town have just fueled the imaginations of investigators. Historians and archaeologists have spent their entire lifetimes pondering these exact possibilities. I mean, did the settlers, desperate after 3 years with no supplies, just integrate and join a nearby tribe? Were they somehow attacked and completely removed from the site? Did a sudden disease force them to abandon the settlement to go seek help elsewhere? Or did something even stranger happen out there in the sheer isolation of the new world? And look, over the centuries, archaeologists have definitely found things. They've dug up pieces of pottery, they've uncovered old tools, they've thoroughly analyzed ancient maps. But what does all that physical evidence actually reveal? Nothing. No clear answers at all. The mystery remains entirely intact. The physical artifacts exist, sure, but they are completely divorced from the narrative of what actually happened to the people who used them. It is an investigator's absolute worst nightmare. And that is exactly why, even today, the Lost Colony of Roanoke remains one of history's absolute greatest unsolved mysteries. Over 100 people, families, kids, pioneers, they all simply vanished without leaving a single clear answer behind. It's this enduring legacy of the unknown, just a permanent, glaring blank spot in the historical record that continues to fascinate and haunt us, for sure. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. When we look at history, we're usually studying the artifacts, the ruins, the stories that survived the test of time, right? But Roanoke teaches us something entirely different. Sometimes the most terrifying mystery isn't what we know or what we can dig out of the ground. The most terrifying mystery is what completely disappeared. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning those empty spaces in history, and I'll catch you next time.